Central.
Yeah, I saw that. Where?
The coach. I don't think that's kind of baggage. We also have
and know what you're possibly facing in the way of a tracking animal, a person, maybe a tree limb has fallen down, obstructing the gate. So, turntable, very important, significant for the steam locomotives. Now later, as these electric locomotives are being introduced into the railroads, obviously initially the larger railroads, and then as time, just like our technology, when it gets a little older, gets a little bit more affordable, ladies and gentlemen, 4501, Southern Railway 282, that's the wheel arrangement. We'll get into that a little further in the next few moments. This was known as an M-Class 282 Mikado. There were exactly 182 M-Class 282 Mikados built for the Southern. This was the very first of those 182. Now about 485 total Mikados were built, but not the M-Class. So out of the 182 of the M-Class, this being the first one, how many do you think are left? This one. And in fact, if you don't believe me, maybe this will convince you. You see this plaque right here on the front pilot? That is the National Registry of Historic Places. How often do you see that on a moving object? The 282 portion of the name is simply referring to the guy that's got at the front end or the front pilot of the engine. The driving wheels on the engine are doing all the work. It's forward and reverse. Now obviously, wet conditions, icy conditions, or whatever reason, you might see a wheel slip. You've seen that before, where you're not getting enough traction. Well, if you look at this locomotive here, and here's another example here, all right? That's when you activate your stand. And that stand is delivered right there. So forward or reverse allows you to get just enough traction to continue moving in either direction. Locomotive 4501 was built by the Baldwin Philadelphia Manufacturing Works, and it was delivered to the Southern Railway. When it was delivered, it cost about $23,900 in 1911. Eventually, in 1954 or so, the Southern Railway, being one of the larger railroad companies in America, began to introduce diesel electric locomotives into their fleet very quickly and phase out steam. This locomotive is sold secondarily to the KNT, the Kentucky Tennessee Railway, up in East Central Kentucky, up in the coal mining industry up in the mountains, for $8,000. By 1663, even the KNT wanted to dieselize their fleet of locomotives. This locomotive comes up, officially it's scrapped. For a price tag of $5,000. And one of the two founding members, in this case Mr. Paul Merriman, out of his own pocket, bought the check for $5,000. At that point in time, it was in Stearns, Kentucky. The KNT had actually found this locomotive sitting up in Princeton, Indiana. So now we've just got the opportunity to see our 1916 turntable, our 1911 282 Mikado, our Baldwin engine, and at this time, if you want to come to our east side of the field, you'll need to meet me out at the walkway where the rope comes to an end.